Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome to the second part of Dailies today. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi. So good morning.
You can watch our show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can locate us on Facebook and on YouTube. You can just like the page so Facebook notify you when we are live, or just subscribe to our channel so YouTube can do same for you whenever we come on live. Let's start with the Guardian newspaper. Despite Band A migration, manufacturers groan in blackouts.
I think there's a need to revisit this band issue, and I'm now talking seriously and also as a victim. The whole of Saturday night, was it Saturday or Sunday night in my estate, we spent hours deliberating on how to get out of this this Band A, Band B problem. I think it's not sustainable because the target in Band A cannot be met in a lot of areas. That is one. Two, the rates that are tied to it are far out of the reach of maybe close to 40 to 50% of those in that band area. You know, I think there might be a need to review the whole thing. And in any case, I find it discriminatory. Like I asked somebody on Saturday, so does it mean that once I'm in Band D, I'm condemned not to have electricity? Those are the social parts of it. The business side of it too doesn't seem to be working right. But let's hear what we have here. The president of MAN, Francis Meshiloye, has declared manufacturers spend on alternative energy, saying they could no longer cope with the burden that has forced many companies into bankruptcy. And it behoves on us to make sure that we keep our companies working, the least being the employment opportunities that they offer. You know, and he spoke at the town hall meeting yesterday, which was organized by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, by the Minister of State for Industry, Senator John Eno, and the organized private sector. Okay, he lamented that despite forcing manufacturers and businesses into Band A, you are forced into it, really. You are just told you are in Band A. You know, they are paying even more for darkness and the inefficiency of the distribution companies, as they spent 521 billion providing alternative energy for production in the last 18 months, despite also paying trillions of naira to the discos for darkness. He broke it down. He said 281 billion was spent in 2023, while a whooping 238.31 billion was expended in quarter one 2024 on alternative energy alone. He lamented, this excludes the billions of naira we pay to the discos monthly for their inefficiency and inadequate supply and from available data. H2 is going to be even higher. So I'd like to plead with the authorities to let's all take, before it becomes a larger issue. It's a source of sadness for a lot of people. In my estate, for example, we are in Band A, but the hours are not met. So what then happens? You keep now going ding dong with your service provider for them to honor the provisions in this banding system that we have. And like I said, banding actually even works in areas that are well cut out. This is industrial and this is residential, and there is a guarantee. Don't forget that the discos can even only give you light that they have to distribute. Don't forget that. And with the rate at which we have constant breakdowns and so on and so forth, before anybody goes to court to get an injunction, I think the honorable thing should be done. Scrap this banding system until we are sure that at the very least, you can get value for money. Surely there must be some other way in which this can be arranged without this discriminatory practice. So, yes.
So I know that before they started these banding whatever, estates, communities usually have arrangements with the discos. And they would, I think that is what morphed into banding.
Yes.
Like they will agree to some higher tariff of some sort for more supply, power supply. That's what I think the Magodo people, that they remember they had.
Why are you looking? I don't live in Magodo.
I'm just saying that
I have a leg there, though. I have an annex in Magodo, but I don't live there.
Okay.
Manlobe.
Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, I think that that arrangement could be better than forcing people into.
Yes, maybe not force,
band.
but also it is discriminatory, because what it means is that once you get the main supply from wherever it is, you deny other people.
Yeah.
For me. If Magodo, for example, is just an example, is also tied with Shomolu.
Yeah.
It means that whatever electricity you have must always go to Magodo first, and then you deny the Shomolu people. Is it an offense to be poor?
So, in defense of the discos, because I remember having this conversation at some point, and they said that they procured this power as well. They bought this, they buy the power, then sell. To their consumers.
Yes.
And some of the people some of the consumers, they enjoy bypassing their meters, so there is no way of
that is a very lame excuse that the system has provided. Electricity should be available for all. Indeed, the lower rung need it more than the ladder rung, in the sense that how are you going to build up capacity at the lower end? Little industries, barber shop. How are you going to build up that capacity?
So the point they were trying to make is they're private businesses themselves. They have bought this power from TCN, and they need to recoup their power. They need to recoup their investments as well.
We need to go back to the original arrangement where government
will be in charge.
Yes, and there must be some form of subsidy. Look, all this. I don't want to use the word.
There is subsidy currently.
We need to build up the capacity for low scale industries. That's what the solution to this problem is. Instead of having youths rolling all over, if there is constant light, for example, you can then say, "Oh, look, Abro, this is a pair of clippers, and so on and so forth. Go sort yourself out, and you can get something doing." That is where the key is. It's not in all these so-called foreign investors are to help the elite who have their businesses. Did you see any discussion about small scale, about what happened in France? Is it not about the big boys with their banks and this and that? That's not the solution to our problem. The government has to get involved. Even if it means something as ridiculous as setting up solar centers in some areas, let us do something concrete and stop faffing around. The reason why we are suffering what we have now, why our economy is almost, you can't run a restaurant, you can't keep anything in your fridge, you can't run a barbing salon, you can't run a hairdresser salon, and that is the key to development. That is the key to development. So I don't blame the discos, but they themselves didn't do a proper study before they jumped into the business. No right-thinking businessman would have wanted to be a disco had they done a proper study. Yes, but some of them were after the assets. That's a story for another day. So the whole thing has collapsed as it is. We have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again.
Indeed. But now that states now have power to generate their own electricity, shouldn't that be responsibility for squarely on the state governors?
It would help. It would help. But then the question then would be, would the states have the capacity? If they are ready to sacrifice a lot of the money that goes in the wrong direction. Yes. But with this argument, there's this argument, states are getting more money and what is happening to the money? I look at those who are saying these things and I laugh. They're getting more money figuratively, but they're getting less value. Yes.
But the states can create enabling environment for investors.
They can.
So come in and...
They definitely can. And I'm happy about that development. But none of them are looking in that direction. I think Lagos is. Lagos is. Some. There was some arrangement that was, I think it was even during Tinubu's time, with the business district, to make sure the Lagos business district. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But that's where the solution lies, Sheriff.
Indeed. Let's go to our next story. This next story And oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This next story is Netflix denies leaving Nigeria.
Okay. This is a bit of a contradiction because just this morning I was watching Afolayan on a program that took place, I think, 2 days ago. But whilst there is a strong belief that Netflix is leaving Nigeria, officially the company has said that they were not leaving Nigeria, but that they were only cutting funding for Nigerian movies. They're a bit worried about the exchange rate. They're a bit worried about the habits that we have. You know, the habits that we have the habits that we have in using their services. People, for example, I find quite a number of people always asking me, "Can I use your Can I use your password?" Yes. So if one account is servicing about 8-10 people, how does the company balance out?
But isn't that what they do everywhere in the world?
No,
that's what Netflix does everywhere in the world.
If you give your account to a third party in the United Kingdom, you are going to jail.
Netflix account?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, I know that. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
It is against
because you have said for a fact. Yes.
I know that if you give your Netflix account and it becomes known, you might not end up in jail, but the law will prosecute you. They have the right to prosecute.
So maybe Netflix did not do it in the UK. Again, I'm not sure. Yes. But in Nigeria here and in some other countries,
people's passwords are flying all over the place.
No. What I'm trying to say is that's the provision from Netflix themselves.
That's what?
Yes. That you can add people to your accounts.
No way. It has a limit.
Yes,
but
it does.
The limit is exceeded now.
No, you can't exceed it.
So listen, there is what they call a family account. You, Mrs. Mrs. Quadry, and the little Quadrys. Okay,
they are not so little, but go.
Whatever it is, your children are little. But here to be honest with you, it's been abused. I
don't understand.
It's been so because you see, the profit in that business is in numbers.
Netflix.
So if one man is servicing about 20 people, it's
impossible. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you won't even be able to log in the first instance. Once you reach the allowed.
I've not tried. I've not tried.
It depends on the account that you.
I'm not criminally minded. I've not tried.
You won't be able to.
That means you tried.
No, because I have an account.
I know you have an account, but how did you know?
It's the same thing DSTV is doing as well. You can't give more than the allowed.
No, DSTV is. I think it's even one for their online streaming.
You can have. It depends on the account.
No, but the DSTV one is that once you're on one, nobody else can log in.
You can.
Are you sure?
Yes, you can.
Are you saying that with DSTV I can log in
with your account?
With my account on my computer and my phone?
Yes, you can.
I will try it today.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure you can do that on computer, but I think it's just on mobile.
Two people can.
Yes, you can.
I will try it.
Yes, you can.
We'll try one of these days, but there's no time now. Anyway, the news is that they are not leaving Nigeria, and I thank God for that.
Why?
Hallelujah, because they are the ones, to be honest with you, one of the that are helping Nollywood grow.
No doubt.
Yeah, themselves and Prime.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yes, they're helping. They funded a lot of Anikulapo, some of these epic movies that we have.
Quite a number.
Funded by Epic. And it's big money. It's big money. And I was happy to hear from Afolayan that our movies are making waves, even as far as places like Japan. I think he said about, was it how many countries that they have subtitles in different languages? Wow. Our movies are making waves, yes. So I'm happy to hear that. And our movies have become top notch. Looking at my life, for example, when Indian movies came when we were young, Damindra and all this, Jama, Love in Tokyo. We used to go watch it. We started with cowboy movies. Then we ended up going to watch Indian film. We call it Indian film.
Yeah.
By the time the Chinese came, oh my God, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. That one, he came and left. I think the Chinese have gotten out of that business. Now what is tying our own people down also now are the Korean movies. So
Yeah.
where I'm going is that it's a big industry.
It
and
is.
I'm glad
It is.
that Bola Tinubu's government, at least in rhetoric, are paying attention to that development, knowing that there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of opportunities
That's right.
for people in that direction.
It's a whole ecosystem.
Yes.
It's really big. Now, whatever I don't know. I've not followed the story, to be honest with you. I don't know why
Yes.
Netflix would plan to leave.
No,
I
it would
really
be.
don't
It
know.
would be. I think it would be a business decision. I don't know the dynamics of it, but it would be. It would be a business decision. It might have to do with controls. It might have to do with leakages. Yes, but it would be. And then it might also have to do with
Leakages.
numbers. It might also have to do with numbers. These people are businessmen, and overheads that might be encountering here. I have a lot of sympathy for anybody in business in this country now. At least all my sponsors, how much it costs to service various areas of the business.
Right.
It's getting all these band A and band B too. These little things all add up.
They do. They
you
do.
know, yes.
They do.
And then instability. If you have a Netflix, can they set up an office in the north? Is there any fear about? So it's a matter about numbers, logistics, and so on and so forth. I hope they don't end up going to Ghana and from Ghana run the business into Nigeria. We just we need to get our acts together.
Yeah.
But for now, at least as at this morning, they are not leaving. So when you finish, don't go to your Netflix. Just listen to us late at night when we've all gone home. Then
you can go and check out your Netflix. Now let's go to this tax reform bills. Why Senate suspended further legislative action?
This tax reform thing is getting hot. It says that following criticisms and pressures on the tax reform bill, the Senate had to suspend further legislative action on the bill. This excites me, though. It means that we still have people power.
Yeah.
It excites me. It shows that we still have people power. If we can all with one voice apply pressure when the need arises, it still shows that we have people power here. And it says here, massive pressure attacks. It says that assailed by attacks from within and outside the upper chamber, the National Assembly bowed to pressure yesterday and made a U-turn on its decision to carry out a public hearing on the bills. This is a signal to the government that there are some things that Nigerians will not tolerate, and I'm happy about that. If you are interested in the details, it's in the story. I don't want to take much of your time. For me, what is most significant is that the signal is out there. So all of us now must be ready. Once there's some policy coming up that we are not happy with, let us learn to apply pressure. And this has happened without drawing any blood, without having any massive lockdown and demonstrations and huffing and puffing. The pressure just kept on piling. The government itself, hopefully, would back down on some areas. Also, the story says that today, the committee established, the National Assembly established a committee to meet with the Attorney General so that they can but they should be very careful not to bring anything in through the back door. We need to be careful about that. I think we have a PTO here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's take a look at this story. This story is virtually in all the dailies today. It's on page 6 of the Vanguard. It's on page 5 of the Guardian. Alleged defamation. Ekiti court remands Farooq as obedient, threatening protest. That's in Vanguard. In the Guardian, court remands Farooq till December 10 for alleged defamation.
Okay, so the Farooq case is well known to everybody now. It was Fabiola who petitioned against him, and he had to do because Farooq character. Well, it's been now civil. To be honest with you, since I'm not a lawyer, and I don't like making statements on things I'm not sure of. I leave the lawyers to sort that out and the court. But from a social standpoint, my advice would be to Chief Afe Babalola in the sense that sometimes he says he wants to redeem his reputation and so on and so forth. I would like him to do some introspection and be careful with this kind of case because it has gone beyond the limit of what he of what he feels. He has gone beyond of what he feels he has been wounded about. Okay, and the situation could get larger than him. And at the end of the day, I hope that it doesn't become a situation where what he's trying to protect itself becomes damaged further. He's within his rights to do what he feels should be done. The lawyers have criticized, people have criticized here to say that it shouldn't have been criminal. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say categorically. But it's the same thing I told Sheriff this morning. So your driver runs away with your jack or runs away with your tire. Sometimes they're very careful about reporting him to the police, because if they grab him and they kill him in the process, the whole thing becomes another issue entirely. So when we do these things, sometimes we need to spread our minds open, and that is just my take on that. Farooq to me is somebody that I respect a lot. I respect him a lot, for his stand on a lot of issues. I respect him a real lot. And Chief Afe Babalola himself is a distinguished lawyer. You can't take that away from him. But so I'd like my advice, just would be to say that, look, this issue could go beyond, because here you have Atiku saying, for example, that is a reminder of the military dictatorship. And even Igini, our good friend Igini, has told the Inspector General to order the release of Farooq. That must have been before he was set. He was taken before the court yesterday. Yeah. And also the story here that says that this story we got on Vanguard, but the Guardian reports that Farooq will be in. Will be in I think he'll be in the correctional center until the 10th of December, when his case will come up, and that is when he might hear the application whether he'll plead guilty or not, and subsequently he might have to apply for bail. In which case, by that December 10, the judge might rule another day for him to consider whether he should be bailed or not. There's a lot of cynicism in my mind behind all these methods, because at the end of the day, Farooq is in detention, as it were. And I'm a bit worried about a system that makes you go through punishment, irrespective of whether ultimately you're going to be guilty or not. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried about that kind of legal system. If all you're doing is talking about defamation and so on and so forth, I'm a bit worried about why you would have a pick-up, why you would have a few days detention before going to court. It's not reasonable. It's not murder, and I think we need to devise a better way of handling these things. But he has a December 10 date, and we will see what happens on them. Here it says that the obedient movement are expressing deep shock and concern over his plight. The same for Yoruba Ronu leadership. They are also, and even the NBA. You see, there are so many things that are behind all this. And if we are not careful, this is becoming some kind of class war. And the consequences I cannot predict. Okay. Or I would rather not predict. Not that I cannot predict.
All right. Let's go to let's take a look at this story here. Antibiotics abuse worsens drug resistance, claims 64,500 lives yearly.
Well, this is just for your information. A lot of us toy around with antibiotics. You go to the toilet 2-3 times, you run and get Flagyl, and all these kind of things. You have a boil. It's so bad that we don't even know that there are different antibiotics for different ailments. They'll tell you, go and buy the red and yellow capsule. We abuse antibiotics, and there are consequences. Look at the information we have here. 86.5% of Nigerians use non-prescribed antibiotics. That's a lot of percentage. 86.
Over
1.2 million Nigerians suffer microbial. Thank God I don't read the news. Antimicrobial resistance yearly, 1.2 million. What is that? What it just means is that after you've used antibiotics extensively, after a while they don't work on you again. Yeah. 1 in 5 deaths recorded among under 5. Scourge affects 5 million, over 700,000 deaths globally. Why government must educate livestock farmers and practitioners. So we need to be careful about how we use antibiotics. What I would say is, I think that a chemist would as much as be able to tell you what to use for what. Don't just think that so you have typhoid. You think you have typhoid because you've taken anti-malaria. It's not working. You think you have typhoid. You just go to the chemist and say, I want so and so. Always try. I know health facilities are expensive, but always try and seek medical advice before you start taking, especially antibiotics. I remember way back in the day when we had some people who would take analgesics before drinking.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? They will take and the most dangerous one was the powdered form. And it has knocked many people out. So you need to be very careful. The same also applies to agbo. Agbo is good, yes, but you need to be very careful about dosage and about the damage you can inflict. We have to go.
Yes, we must.
Because
we must
let's talk about agbo.
No, we just have to go. This time.
What a coincidence.
It will cut off.
Babe, I've been calling you all day. Where have you been?
Still trying to link my NIN. Like the queue is so long.
Haven't you linked it before?
I have, but I made a mistake with my date of birth.
But you could have done it at home if you visited www.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.